5 News This Morning starts now.
Well, thank you for joining us today on 5 News This Morning Plus, streaming live on the 5 News Plus Smart TV app. I'm Tiffany Lee.
And I'm Emily Moss. Coming up today, new laws signed earlier this year go into effect this week. More on how Arkansas is keeping road workers safer.
And Benton County Judge Barry Mooring says he won't be seeking re-election come next year. We'll have more on that decision coming up.
And we'll hear from Jacob here in just a bit, but we want to get right to it. The weather, big talker for today. A little smoky looking out there. We don't want anyone to be worried, though. It's not in our area, really. It's coming from somewhere else.
Well, yes, there's no active fires here. And the good news is it's staying elevated. It's not reaching the surface. So air quality is okay. And it's creating quite a bit of some vibrant sunrises and sunsets. We'll show you some of those here as we look across the area, across our beautiful region of the 5 News coverage area in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. There we go. You can see plenty of those oranges a little bit more vibrant this morning. You might be thinking, well, Danny, why is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Again, the smoke particles in particular, scatter more of the longer wavelengths of the rainbow. So more of those reds and those oranges. So that's why you're seeing more of those, and the wild blues are not as vibrant. And you might be thinking, okay, well, why during sunrise and sunsets is it more vibrant? Well, think, as the sun rises on the horizon, it has to go farther through the atmosphere, right? It's coming into your TV almost. Basically, it's right on the edge, right? So it's going through more of the atmosphere, whereas if it's at the top, it's kind of going straight down. It's not going through as much of the atmosphere instead of going the long way. So that's a little science lesson for this morning. You're like, all right, Danny, get on with the forecast. Can do. We'll show you pretty shots here. Here's a look in Poto. You can see more of that vibrant orange again. The oranges, the reds, again, less blue in the horizon, as well as even in Fort Smith. You can't even see the sun in this, but you're noticing these oranges off to the west there. Again, it's more vibrant. Again, most of this is smoke. There is a little bit of some cloud cover out there, but most of this is smoke that's kind of scattering this about. As I mentioned, thankfully, it's going to stay elevated. Right now, air quality is just under that moderate, that okay area, and there's actually the green in Fort Smith. This is from the reading near the Fort Smith area. This is more towards Springdale. That's what's showing us that yellow. So again, most of it should stay elevated, but definitely going to see that smoke and maybe feel it a little bit if you're extra sensitive. So just be mindful as you're spending time outside today. Otherwise, this afternoon, we'll see those temperatures in the low 90s for Northwest Arkansas, maybe into the mid 90s for some. Then during the River Valley, or during the afternoon for the River Valley, we'll be in the mid to upper 90s. We'll see some clouds build back in again, as well as that smoke kind of creating that vibrant sunrise. If you're headed out to the Tiny Town Grape Festival, day 2 is tonight from 5 to 11 along Highway 412. Otherwise, as Henry de Donte Boulevard, or Henry de Donte, whatever you want to call it, that feels like will be anywhere. Sorry, that feels like will be anywhere. Joan and our producer's cracking me up here. Feels like will be anywhere from about 80 at 11 to 96 this afternoon. So again, just be safe out there if you're spending time in the heat as well as the smoke. Just be a little bit mindful of it. We'll talk more about that forecast coming up in just a little bit. But now we'll take a live look at traffic on this Wednesday morning. Take a live look along I-49 at New Hope Road in the Rogers area. Good morning to you there. Again, you can see a little bit of that smoke on the horizon. Again, most people stay elevated, but just be mindful of it, and we'll talk more about that here coming up in your full forecast. Emily.
Thanks, Danny. The city of Fort Smith has completed repairs on the water main break, but the city is still under an emergency phase 2 conservation. It follows crews responding to a major water main break on Sunday. They're asking people to conserve water wherever they can. The city says no watering lawns, filling swimming pools, washing vehicles, or cleaning outside areas until further notice.
And new laws signed earlier this year in Arkansas go into effect this week. A few of them are designed to keep road workers safer. Some of the new laws include doubling fines in mobile work zones, green flashing lights on all RDOT vehicles for improved visibility, and work zone safety placed in the Arkansas Driver's Manual and tests. According to some, these laws will assist anyone who works roadside, including tow truck drivers.
Every one of our employees is somebody's son, somebody's daughter, and most of them are somebody's mother, somebody's father. And they all want to get home and see their family, you know, and be with their family and do the things they love outside of work. And at the end of the day, we want everybody that works for RDOT to go home safe, and we want everybody driving on our roads to be safe.
Well, driving school teachers say penalties and worker testimonials will be included in driver manuals to help students understand the importance of slowing down in construction zones.
Another law taking effect this week in Arkansas requires all school districts to provide paid maternity leave for teachers and staff. The leave is fully paid, and employees must apply at least 30 days before their expected due date or placement. One Bentonville school teacher says not only will it help expecting families bond with their families, but it's far easier logistically.
To me, that sounds like a much easier way to go about getting it than it was before, where you had to set up all these meetings with HR, figure out how many sick days you had so that maybe you could figure out how many days you're going to be docked.
The law applies to fathers of newborns and parents welcoming an adopted or foster child as well.
Well, the man who sits atop Benton County's government has announced that he will not seek re-election. Barry Mooring has decided to step down in 2026.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is live in Bentonville for us this morning. Jacob, what led Mooring to this decision and what kind of impact has he had over the last decade?
Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Tiffany. Yeah, Benton County Judge Barry Mooring says he is a strong believer in term limits, even though county government doesn't have them. And after what will be 10 years as county judge come next year, he says now is the time for the next chapter of his life. Now, Barry Mooring started his career in public service after being elected in 2012 as a justice of the peace in Benton County, and he was first elected in 2016 as county judge, serving a 2-year term. Re-elected in 2018 to a 4-year term and again in 2022. He says his biggest impact came during the county's toughest times. During his tenure, Mooring led the county through 2 presidentially declared disasters, the 2017 flood and the tornado outbreak over Memorial Day weekend in 2024, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. He also helped navigate a period of rapid growth. He says the county is currently in the process of expanding their court facilities, including 2 new criminal courts, expanded space for prosecutors, and the juvenile detention facility. Mooring says nearly every issue this county faces ties back to that expansion.
Every single issue that we looked at pertained to growth, whether it was expanding our facilities, seeking to make improvements in the jail, even things that we were doing on county roads. We still have about 1,400 miles or so of county roads, but those roads get a lot more traffic, and we had to think differently about how to maintain those roads, how to keep water off those roads. So our flooding strategy changed. Everything related to growth.
Now, Mooring says that his term ends in next December, but he wants to still be involved in his community and especially in Bentonville, the city in which he lives in. But as of right now, he says he's not ruling out a potential for a further career in politics, but he says as of right now, that's just not the case. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Thanks for that, Jacob. Well, back to school is just days away, and local schools are changing cell phone policies after a statewide ban in Arkansas.
Local school leaders say the new law, which bans cell phones from the opening bell to the closing bell, will have positive effects in and out of the classroom. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach has the latest.
Greenland High School principal Stephanie Baker says the campus already implemented a strict no cell phone policy during last school year.
Since the new law was implemented, we have a no cell phone policy in the high school. They may have their cell phones, but they must be in their backpacks turned off. During instructional time, we are completely no cell phones.
Baker says students aren't just paying more attention in class, but are also engaging with each other.
They were all talking to one another. No one's head was buried in a device. It was really fun to see them interact and engage with one another and conversate.
Greenland Dean of Students Cody Napier says he's noticed a change as well.
In the past, they had the option to pull their cell phone out. They probably would have pulled their cell phone out, and now they're going to engage in some of those, social interaction stuff with their peers. So that was a lot of fun to see.
As you can see, these devices can be really distracting. But now, with phones out of the way more often, teachers and principals say that students are paying better attention, even talking to each other more during lunch.
The lunchroom was loud again. The kids are talking. They're not on their phone. You didn't walk by a table and see 8 kids doing this. So they're talking to them. They're being kids. They're socializing as they're supposed to.
Alan Wilborn with Fayetteville Public Schools says without the constant pressure to check phones, students feel more present.
When they knew that all of their friends were in class, they're not missing anything. There's no FOMO. They didn't miss any posts or anything funny or that somebody said because they weren't on their phone either.
And without scrolling, students are finding new ways to fill their time.
And we even saw some kids playing cards this morning, which was really fun to see.
Napier says he's hopeful the ban will help students focus and connect in ways they haven't in years.
I think we're going to get back to that now, where there's not the cell phone in the classroom. The teacher, is the entertainment, and I look forward to seeing that because that interaction with the students and the teachers and amongst themselves, I think, is going to be great.
Well, school leaders say that they will be monitoring the policy as the year continues. Well, this comes as the Fayetteville City Council has voted down a proposed student housing development. The project would have replaced 2 apartment complexes and displaced dozens of current tenants. To address concerns, the developer worked with city staff to guarantee affordable units and $10,000 in relocation assistance. Residents say the decision would have made it harder for them to enjoy what Fayetteville has to offer.
Not only do I live there, but 2 of my employees live in one of the buildings that are nearby. And my team is only 8 people. So to think that 3 of us would all be in a period of displacement, trying to find places to live, moving far away, being financially burdened.
Ultimately, the council voted 5-1 against the rezoning. The developer declined to comment, but says that they are still exploring other options in Fayetteville.
In other news this morning, the beloved Thornton Grape Fest continues today. The festival started in 1899, meaning this year marks its 126th anniversary. The festivities today include carnival rides, a grape stomp, and live performances. And tomorrow is when the spaghetti dinners start. Organizers say 100% of festival proceeds go to St. Joseph's Church. The Grape Festival ends on Saturday. Parking and admission is free.
And the Arkansas State Fair is coming back with the star-studded weekend in October. R&B sensation Trey Songz, country music legends David Lee Murphy and Lone Star, and rock band 38 Special will cap off the weekend there in Little Rock. Tickets are on sale starting at $30. Well, coming up this morning on the Daily Brew, a popular scene with 2 Grammy-nominated actors is being used to scare wolves away from livestock. And we'll talk about that one.
And Sigmund Freud would have a lot to say about this new ice cream flavor from a baby product company. More on the limited time breast milk flavored ice cream. Let's take a live look outside over Bentonville. The time is 7:11. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. Live look at your traffic on this Wednesday morning. Take a live look along I-49 at Clear Creek Road, just north of the Chester area. Good morning to you there. Traffic moving smoothly so far across the region, but you're noticing a little bit of that orange, a little bit of that haze in the background. That's due to that wildfire smoke from California, northern Arizona, northern Colorado, bringing us the very vibrant sky for us this morning. Here's another live look along I-49 in the Rogers area near the AMP. And again, here you can see plenty of that orange. And the good news is this is staying elevated, but it is creating quite a bit of a scene as you're walking out the door and you're like, is the world ending? Is this it? Nope, it's just the wildfire smoke. Currently in Rogers, 71 degrees. We would see plenty of sunshine if it wasn't for that smoke. And eventually later during the day when the sun is at a higher angle, it'll be less prominent. But still, you're going to notice quite a bit of a haze, kind of a white, like milky kind of look. That's what it's going to look like with that smoke. Dew point is at 66, so a little bit muggy out there. For the most part, we're being okay. Again, that air quality is okay. It could be worse, but it's under that moderate for the majority of the area. You can see the Fort Smith area The reason why you're seeing like a little bit of a hole here is because the Fort Smith area air quality sensor is reporting that green, and then the rest around it are reporting that yellow. Again, needless to say, it could be a lot worse. It could be more of the Great Lakes region where we're seeing that orange, that unhealthy for sensitive groups, and then even off to the west here in northern Colorado where there is some wildfire smoke currently right now due to active wildfires. That's on the unhealthy side, and of course, they're obviously a lot more elevated. Now, unfortunately, we're going to be seeing this smoke really for the next few days at the very least, because as long as the wildfires keep burning, and as long as that high pressure is off to our west, creating that heat dome you may have heard of, then we're going to continue to get it. Notice that clockwise rotation of the high is bringing that smoke again from California. I know my states, don't worry. California, Colorado, see, Arizona, and that smoke rises, steers in the middle of the atmosphere. Notice the arrows are sending it right to us, and then we'll send it back kind of in a loop here, and we'll just see kind of it recycle over and over again. With that, though, we also are not seeing much in terms of any rain or really any activity. You notice the stationary front is off to our southeast, and that cold front that's here is actually going to move off to the north. So that's why the smoke isn't sinking to the surface and causing too many air quality issues, because, again, cold air is very dense, and we have cold air moving in. Then it sinks to the surface and brings that smoke with it. Since there's no movement of the air really in terms of any cold fronts or warm fronts, it's going to stay elevated, which is good news for us. But if you're looking for something to cool you off, well, rain's just not going to really be a factor for us as we head through the weekend. Through Sunday, we're expecting maybe a very spotty afternoon shower here and there. Otherwise, any organized rain chances are really zero. In terms of the dew points, it is going to be a little bit muggy. Dew points for today and really over the next 5 days at least are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Some in the River Valley, especially Friday through Sunday, are going to be in the low 70s. So not as muggy as it was to end July. Not as hot as it was to end July either, but it's going to be a pretty steady kind of warmth here. For that feels like will be anywhere from about 97 in northwest Arkansas to about 102, maybe some spots isolated to 104. Same thing with tomorrow. Then I think Friday through Sunday, we'll see it more between 100 in northwest Arkansas to as high as 106. 107 in the River Valley. For actual air temperatures, highs will be in the low to mid 90s in northwest Arkansas, mid to upper 90s in the River Valley. We'll have plenty of that sunshine during the morning, clouds during the afternoon, and a light southerly breeze. So not much in terms of wind. And again, we'll have that elevated wildfire smoke. For tonight, low temperatures in the low to mid 70s, maybe a little bit of an upper 60s if you're higher in the terrain. We'll have clear skies and a light wind. And then for tomorrow, again, more of the same. Highs will be in the mid 90s in northwest Arkansas, upper 90s in the River Valley, so about a degree or two warmer. We'll have mostly sunny skies and more of that haze with a little bit more of a southerly breeze at about 5 to 10. In terms of the rest of your 7-day forecast, again, this is just due to the fact that I know for sure it's going to be hazy tomorrow and today, but it could be as well lingering as long as that smoke and keeps circulating. So we head into the weekend, pretty nice here. Again, we could see more of that haze as well. Highs are in the mid 90s. In terms of any organized rain chances, well, like I said, it's going to be pretty minimal to none. We'll see maybe a chance on Monday and Tuesday. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing potential for maybe some highest temperatures close to 100 on Friday for the River Valley. We're getting set up for the Daily Brew here, and Tiffany's pointing at which direction I need to sit on. But yeah, anyway, it's going to be nice for us as we head through the rest of the week.
Y'all missed it. I tripped over one of those boxes.
What boxes? Oh my gosh.
I think I just broke my elbow.
We're a mess here this morning, and these pillows are back. I'm just going to hold this one.
Hit the funny bone, but it wasn't funny. All right.
wasn't very funny.
Well, let's get to business. A movie starring 2 Oscar-nominated actors is being used to scare wolves from livestock. So the movie 2019's Marriage Story about a stage director and his actor wife struggling through a divorce. A huge scene, the heated fight between the two, screaming, punching walls, the works. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is using that scene to scare wolves away from cattle herds in the West. The audio is being blasted by drones, and according to USDA officials, the idea is to show wolves that humans are bad. There you go.
Well, that's one way to do it.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I want to know, about the neighbors, if they, just hear this, blasting.
Hopefully it's on a lot of land, so it's kind of zoned out. But, for these actors, that's probably not where they thought this scene would go.
No, I want to be known for, my work, right? Like I said, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are two really good actors and actresses, but they're now known for, at least in some areas, scaring off wolves.
Yeah, so the wolves know them, and they know them well, right?
Yeah.
And it was a pretty intense scene. I'll give him that. So I guess that will do it.
There you go.
I will say, I've seen movies too where, I'm sure, if you have pets at home as well, you know this. I saw one with Darth Vader in The New Hope when he comes on the ship of the rebels, and it freaked a dog out. Like he hid behind the couch because he was so menacing. So it does have an impact on animals because they sense the fear.
Yeah, for sure. So people might start using this. Who knows? This might start a trend.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
So if you start
everybody brace yourselves.
Yeah, if you
okay?
hear that scene, you know what's going on.
All right, a company known for its innovative baby products is now making waves with its latest product, ice cream that tastes like breast milk. For the record, it's not made with real breast milk.
What?
The makers say it tastes like it, though. What? It's limited time for National Breastfeeding Awareness Month, which is every August. 70% of women have tried breast milk, and 29% of men say they want to. The flavor was perfected over several rounds of tasting. Yeah, no, it's a no from us dogs.
Okay. I mean, it's got a good message, right? Like
Good message. I agree
Yes.
with that. Great message.
But does it have to taste like that? Can't you just say like you're raising awareness for it?
I think maybe it's for the people who do want to try it, I guess. You get it in ice cream form. I think personally I'm going to leave it to the babies.
Yeah, I was gonna say Emily, can you show back up? Did it say 70% of women would want to try it?
It
No,
says
they
that
have.
70% of women have. And
But
it's
I think
because you know when you like
Yeah,
test it.
that's true.
Yeah, and I think too, just like as a mom, you know, it's like you try the baby food first. Or
Yeah.
That's okay,
Some people
that's
tried the pet food first before they give it to their animal.
I like
you know?
I like to talk to the 29% of fellas. We need to talk here. We need to have a conversation.
I just, you know, like if it was made
Technically,
with
100% for the most part.
I was gonna say, you
have
think
tried
more
it.
than.
Like 98% probably have tried it as babies.
That's true.
right?
Okay, that's true. That's true. But I'm saying
But we don't remember that.
no,
Yeah,
no. I feel
I
like
hope not.
like if it was made with real breast milk, then it has like the benefits of it. But like to make it just taste like it, that's what's weird.
So
I can't imagine it tastes that great.
And it said it took several rounds. So like were we just
I was gonna say
testing a
that-
bunch of people's breast milk?
I was gonna say they had like tasting, so there had to be people that were like, and I know like this is everywhere, like restaurant stuff, they'll taste stuff before it gets sent out for products. So there had to be those poor souls that had to willingly.
That just grosses me out. I bet kids did it. Little kids probably tried it.
Well, can you suggest? Is that under like some sort of labor law? Like I don't know, man.
We've got a lot of questions.
I don't know.
We have
I
so many
think-
questions, not enough answer. Jonan, who put the story, we have some questions for you, my man.
I think we just need to move on.
Yeah, let's do
Out of
something.
sight, out of mind. Well, opinions are split about a request made by a Denmark zoo. In a social media post, the zoo is asking area pet owners to donate their unwanted animals to be fed to the zoo's predators.
Jonan.
Oh my goodness. Officials there say that they donated animals. Oh, I can't even read this. Okay. Critics say the initiative is a way.
Dispose of rabbits.
It's a cruel way.
All right, a cruel way to dispose of rabbits, chickens, and even small horses. Supporters of the idea insist it's a way to maintain natural feeding behaviors. Look, I'm all for keeping the food cycle, you know, the food chain. Jonan,
My mouth is stuck like
what are we
that.
doing here, Jonan? This is a crazy set of stories.
This is a lot.
Terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Your beloved pet that you've had for years, you're just like, yeah,
Well,
feed
okay.
it to a
well,
it
lion.
doesn't say
ones that
pets.
you want to just, it says animals that are unwanted. So maybe you have something in your
so you-
backyard that won't stop
Yeah.
eating the plants or something. You catch it and you take it to the zoo. I don't know about this one, but you know what? I mean, I do understand the aspect of it that it's trying to make it feel like the animals are more in the wild a little bit. Because if they were in the wild, no one would think a thing about it. But they're not in the wild,
I
and
know,
we're
I know.
catching those animals. and we're
It's hard to, yeah, like Tiffany said, it's a good point for playing devil's advocate here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That will happen in the wild. It is a natural thing. I think it's just the act of us interfering and saying, all right, now we're going to keep the food chain going.
I
That's
guess
the
when
weird
you
part.
think about it, so I came from a fishing family. Like you do catch certain types of fish to then just use as bait for other fish. So like
Yeah.
in other animal kingdoms, that is the norm. We catch like minnows and stuff to then feed to.
No, it is. It just
Bass.
seems aggressive.
What a daily
A
brew
little
this was.
aggressive and a little violent. Stay with us. We're leaving you on that note.
Jonan,
What's
I'm
next?
going to talk.
This is a 5 News Update.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm 5 News meteorologist Danny Cassidy. About a half hour ago, from about 7 to 7:25, well, okay, I should say 7 to 7:15, you're noticing probably quite a bit of orange as the sun rose this morning. Not seeing as much of that right now, but still seeing kind of hints of it. You notice it in Fort Smith, especially. We'll zoom in here to show you. You can see the sun off to the west there, but a lot of oranges, a little bit more than usual, right? You're seeing that with that sunrise there in Fort Smith. Poto, the same thing. You can see those kind of oranges on the horizon there. Even in Springdale here, if I can show you that on the edge of the screen as I walk out of the way, a little bit more of the oranges, right, as we're rising on this Wednesday. Well, the reason for that is due to the wildfire smoke off to the west from California, Arizona, Colorado. A lot of that's swinging now our direction and bringing a little bit of a haze. Now, you notice that air quality for us is now yellow, moderate all across the region, but that's okay. We'd rather take that than the reds and purples that some have seen in the Great Lakes and New England region. And the reason why it's not coming to the surface is because there's no cold front bringing it down from the atmosphere to us. So just notice that haze out there. It should stay elevated, but something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the day today. And it'll probably continue for at least the rest of this week as long as those wildfires keep burning, as long as that high pressure, that heat dome sends the air our way. Overall for today, high temperatures are in the low 90s northwest Arkansas, mid to upper 90s in the River Valley. We'll see that sunshine as well as that haze and then some partly cloudy skies, as we head during the afternoon hours. Otherwise, for that feels like it is going to ramp up a little bit for us Friday through Sunday. It'll be anywhere from about 100 to 104 for us for today and tomorrow, and then a little bit more, 100 to 106 Friday through Sunday. Hey, if you're watching us over on CBS over the air, you're watching CBS This Morning. We do have our own streaming show here Friday, 5 News This Morning Plus on 5 News Plus, wherever you watch your apps. It streams every morning from 7 to 8. Make sure to join us here for the next half hour.
Five News This Morning starts now.
For watching 5 News This Morning Plus, streaming live on the 5 News Smart TV app, I'm Tiffany Lee.
And I'm Emily Moss. And our top stories this morning, a 91-year-old man claims he was defrauded out of millions. We'll have more on that lawsuit involving a proposed theme park in eastern Oklahoma.
And a live shot from Bentonville this morning, where 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi will join us to discuss the retirement of a Benton County judge. But first, let's go ahead and send it over to Danny. Danny, a lot of people, it's either their last few days of summer or they're getting ready to start school in the next day or so. So what do people need to know? We either need a first day forecast or a last day of summer.
That sounds so sad. You
I
sound
know,
so
it's
sad.
very, very gloomy. Well, I was going to say, because some eastern Oklahoma schools start on Friday.
Yeah.
University of Arkansas starts in a couple weeks, moving in. Shout out Joe's daughter, Manhattan, that's moving in, and it's going to be a pretty nice day. It is going to be a little bit hotter, a little bit muggier than days past, and also a little bit of some wildfire smoke. So you are noticing a little bit maybe of a haze on the horizon here. That is due to that wildfire smoke from out west making its way here. That's how more on the edge of the screen, notice more of those oranges. You might be like, well, Danny, that's the sun. Again, the smoke kind of enhances it a little bit, especially as it's closer to the horizon. As the sun continues to rise throughout the day today, it's not going to be as vibrant just due to the fact that the sun isn't traveling as much through the atmosphere, so it's not going to be as prominent, but you're still going to definitely see the smoke and the haze up there as you look up. Here's another shot in Poto. You can see, again, a little bit there on the horizon, maybe a little bit of fog as well, but again, you can see not as prominent orange as it was earlier this morning, but still kind of there due to that wildfire smoke. The air quality across the region now is under that moderate. Again, it could be a lot worse, could be more in that red and that purple, that unhealthy, very unhealthy. But since we don't have a cold front swinging through, sending it to the surface, that cold, dense air usually sends the smoke to the surface. We're staying kind of still in terms of that pattern, so it should mainly stay elevated. So as you're heading out the door this morning, and if you're extra sensitive to the smoke, maybe keep an eye on it. Again, just to make sure you're being safe out there. Otherwise, again, if you're going for a workout this morning, not too shabby. Once we get to the noon hour, 12:30, those temperatures climb close to 90. That feels like close to 100. So just make sure to stay safe out there. As I mentioned, that feels like for today in Northwest Arkansas. During the afternoon, we'll be in the mid-90s, some possibly close to the upper 90s and around 90 as the sun sets. And then for the River Valley, many are going to get into the triple digits, maybe as high as 102, maybe 104 in some isolated spots. It's staying around 95 around sunset. So what can we expect? Well, again, we're going to see that heat pretty consistent from today through at least Sunday. It's going to remain muggy as well, and rain chances, well, unfortunately, it's pretty minimal to none. We'll talk more about that, though, coming up in your full forecast. For now, we'll take a live look at your traffic this morning. Take a live look along I-49 at Pinewood. Good morning to you there. And you can see a little bit of that haze, a little bit of that orange, that vibrant smoke. Again, should be okay in terms of air quality, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. If any of that does sink, we'll have that full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Tiffany?
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, new information coming out of the district attorney's office in Sequoyah County. It's about a deadly accident that happened early on Sunday morning. Police say 20-year-old Cambry Wright allegedly hit and killed a man while driving the wrong way on I-40 near Salisaw. Wright was charged with an underage DUI, but that has been upgraded to manslaughter after more evidence was made available to prosecutors.
There has to be additional evidence before you can make a charge of manslaughter in the first degree. Sometimes the manslaughter charge on a DUI case can come as much as 2 or 3 months later. It all depends on the amount of evidence that was present.
Well, District Attorney Jack Thorpe noted that Wright is the daughter of a current Sequoyah County Sheriff's deputy, but says the case is being handled by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. If found guilty, Wright could face life in prison.
A new lawsuit was filed by an investor in a proposed theme park and resort in eastern Oklahoma. Gene Bucknell's lawyers allege 3 people at the American Heartland Theme Park and Resort in Veneta defrauded him out of $60 million. The defendants also allegedly pretended to be God in text messages, commanding Bucknell to invest in the theme park. To read more about the lawsuit, visit our website at 5newsonline.com. And a group of Arkansas death row inmates are filing a lawsuit claiming a new law allowing nitrogen gas to be used for executions is unconstitutional. Attorneys representing the prisoners filed the lawsuit. This new law would allow the state to use nitrogen gas to execute a prisoner who is facing the death penalty. Arkansas isn't the only state using nitrogen gas for executions. 5 prisoners have been executed by nitrogen gas in Alabama and 1 in Louisiana. The last time a person was sentenced to death row in Arkansas was in 2018.
Well, a longtime Benton County leader is stepping aside next year. After nearly a decade as county judge, Barry Mooring says that he will not be seeking re-election.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is live for us now in Bentonville with what Mooring says are the biggest challenges that are still facing the county. Good morning, Jacob.
Yeah, good morning. After nearly 10 years as county judge here in Benton County, Judge Barry Mooring has really led this county through a lot of changes, including rapid growth. But these are what he says are the biggest challenges facing this county moving forward as he decided not to seek re-election in 2026. Now, he says it all starts with jail costs and law enforcement. He says they're taking up a growing share of Benton County's budget, and Mooring says that funding issue must be addressed. He also points to land use planning in unincorporated areas as another major challenge, which is driven by the rapid growth and recent legal changes. With urban, rural, and lake areas to balance, he says planning for a county of over 500,000 people will require careful, respectful decisions. But there is one issue, Mooring says, that rises above the rest.
The Benton County Jail is the single largest issue that faces Benton County government and by extension our city governments. It's overcrowded. It needs to be expanded. It needs to be updated. And I'll continue to see what I can do to make that happen. But that's probably the issue more than any other that I wish we had made more progress on over the last few years.
Mooring says that he hopes to leave a legacy of being financially responsible as well as best planning for the future so that whoever takes his spot is best prepared. His term ends in 2026, December 2026. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, the Springdale Police Department is adding new advanced cameras that can capture information like license plate numbers. Police Chief Derek Wright says that they will be installed on easily visible poles and traffic lights. Officials say the cameras will allow investigators to type in a suspect's license plate number and find where they've been spotted.
We were still policing the same way today that we were 50 years ago, and leads on crimes are following up on descriptions of suspect vehicles. Those could take days or months to follow up on, or we may never even be able to find the suspect vehicle, the proper one. So this allows our officers to investigate more effectively and more efficiently.
Wright says some of the software is already being used, and he expects the cameras to be installed early next year.
The city of Fort Smith says the repairs for the water main are complete, but the water conservation order will still be in effect. It comes after crews responded to a water main break on Sunday. The city now prohibiting watering lawns, filling swimming pools, washing vehicles, or cleaning outdoor areas.
Well, in Fort Smith, city directors gave final approval to a plan to remove parking meters in a majority of the downtown area. Officials say the idea of removing the meters has been discussed for several years. As part of a trial run, it's been free to park since January of this year. The only exception is the parking spot surrounding the Sebastian County Courthouse. The county will maintain those meters.
Arvest has made 113 daytime parking spots available to the public in the 21C parking deck in Bentonville. The bank says it hopes to ease downtown parking challenges during construction. According to our content partners at the Bentonville Bulletin, Arvest temporarily relocated from its downtown square location to another location, making the garage spaces available for public use. You can read the full story on thebentonvillebulletin.com.
Well, coming up on your 5 News This Morning Plus, after the break, see how a local teacher is reacting after a law passage that requires all Arkansas school districts to offer paid maternity leave.
And high temperatures staying pretty steady over the next 7 days, anywhere from about 92 to 95 in northwest Arkansas, about 96 to 99, close to 100 in the River Valley. So not as hot as it was last week, especially with the humidity lower, but still going to be pretty hot nonetheless. We'll talk about it more coming up.
Let's take a live look outside, this time over Bentonville, 7:39 this morning. The Jack Links camera. We'll be right back after this break. Well, good morning and welcome back. The time is now 7:41. In your local health news, a new law in Arkansas requires all school districts to offer paid maternity leave. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis spoke with a local teacher who says this law will make all the difference for those who are expecting.
Rebecca Reynolds is going into her 5th year as a first-grade teacher at Apple Glen Elementary in Bentonville. She says she did her best to time out her pregnancy with her firstborn.
I tried to time it where I'm having babies in the spring or early summer so that I'm only taking off about a month or so, and then the normal school year ends, so I'm not docked as many days.
But everything didn't go as planned the second time around.
With my daughter, I just had her on April 1st. I did not have a full paycheck from about the middle of April to just about a week ago, mid-July.
She's even had to come out of pocket.
I've had hospitalizations, I've had surgeries. By the time I was having my first child, I only had like maybe 6 sick days. I actually ended up having to pay the district for my insurance.
Now for new moms like Reynolds, PTO and time with their newborn won't be an added stress on their pregnancy with a new act that went into law on Tuesday.
I probably reread it like 8 times to make sure I wasn't like hallucinating, because it seems like such a huge deal that they would make this change.
Bentonville Schools says that law requires paid maternity leave for new mothers and paid paternity leave for a father welcoming a foster or adopted child to their family. Parents with a baby born after July 1st can take leave for 12 weeks as long as you apply 30 days before the expected due date.
To me, that sounds like a much easier way to go about getting it than it was before, where you had to set up all these meetings with HR, figure out how many sick days you had so that maybe you could figure out how many days you're going to be docked.
Reynolds says it will make all the difference in her future pregnancies and for her peers.
I do feel like deep down, most moms want at least a few months at home with their newborn to bond. They feel like they're still part of you in those early months. And when you're a working mom, knowing that it's hurting your family to stay home with your baby, even though that's the greatest gift you can give your family, it's just really challenging.
In Bentonville, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.
According to the CDC, Arkansas has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the nation. Central Arkansas hospitals are now rolling out a new program to help support new Arkansas mothers during the critical months after childbirth. The special delivery program teaches mothers what warning signs to watch for and provide them with identifiable wristbands. These wristbands alert health care workers at hospitals like Saline Memorial and National Park Medical Center that a patient is postpartum, so they're better equipped to respond more quickly. Health officials say that it's a step in the right direction, but there's still work to be done.
During the last legislative session, there were several new laws that were enacted to help address some of these maternal health issues. Some to provide better coverage for moms, others to help with the reimbursement rates for providers. I think those are all good things in the right direction.
The special delivery model got its start in Russellville in 2023. A multi-million-dollar grant has been issued to a pair of researchers at UAMS to help study a virus that has a confirmed link to cancer. The National Institutes of Health is giving UAMS over $3 million to study KSHV, the virus that can infiltrate a person's immune system and develop into cancer. The grant was given to doctors Mark Manzano and Craig Forrest, 2 professors at UAMS. All right, let's go ahead and check now with that weather. We got the sun coming up and it looks great, but it also looks a little bit hazy out there.
Yes, it is a bit hazy out there due to that wildfire smoke. Before we get into all that, make sure we have that traffic in store, right, Emily?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I would say traffic for us at 3 in the morning is not too shabby. It is a little bit slow there along I-49 at mile marker 72. This is northbound in the Springdale area. Obviously, many people are starting to get after it to work, and they're heading north, maybe headed to Walmart or wherever you may be heading. Maybe you're just like, you know what? I just want to get on with my day. Let's just get things going. So it is a little bit slow in that region. Now looking live over Fort Smith, you see a little bit of that haze, especially on the western half of the screen. So you're seeing that, or left-hand side of the screen. I'm always in cardinal directions here. The left-hand side of your screen, you're seeing a lot of that orange haze there, and that's due to that wildfire smoke from Canada. It's a little bit less obvious right now because, again, when the sun's more on the horizon, it can kind of send it through the atmosphere. It has to go through longer the atmosphere. When it's a little bit higher, doesn't have to go through much, so more of that orange isn't as vibrant. But you're definitely going to see it as you walk out the door this morning that, yes, there's going to be that smoke. You'll be able to see it. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine without the smoke, 73 degrees. Dew point is 69 there in Fort Smith, so yeah, it's a little bit muggy out there and a little bit warm. That air quality is on the moderate side. It's, okay. It could could be a lot worse. But again, we are seeing that, especially if you're very, very susceptible to that smoke or allergens. Just be sure to be careful out there. Otherwise, air quality is in the unhealthy for sensitive groups, the orange in the Great Lakes region, and then a little bit into northern Colorado as well, where there is that wildfire smoke. Now, the reason why we're seeing this in the first place is because all due to the high pressure, that heat dome off to the west, you're seeing it rotate clockwise around the high, in New Mexico. And you're seeing that smoke basically in California start to get sent into portions of Colorado, into portions of the 5 News coverage area as well. So again, we're continuing to see that kind of move through. And eventually, hey, there I am. Sorry, I think I was messing things up for the directors. I had to get out of the shot. So thank you guys for putting me back up there. Anyway, so we're seeing that smoke go around the low, or the high. I said it again, around the high, right? Well, the reason why it's not getting to the surface, thankfully, is because there's no cold front to send that dust down to the surface. Stationary front off to our south stays off to our south. That cold front's actually going to move to the north. So for us, that's going to stay elevated, which is good news. Now, the bad news is if you want rain out of this, usually you need some sort of front moving through. And we're not really going to see any of that. You notice it's very dry through Sunday, maybe a very stray shower during the afternoon hours over the next 5 days, but most of us are not going to see any of that rainfall. What we are going to see a little bit of muggy conditions. Dew points will be in the mid to upper 60s for really today through Sunday, maybe a couple of low 70s for Friday through Sunday, especially in the River Valley. And with that, high temperatures could be a little bit higher. So that'll increase the heat index a little bit as well. I think most of the area will be below 100, but I think some areas, especially in the eastern portion of the River Valley, could get as high as 104. A little bit of a better chance on Thursday. And then Friday through Sunday will be anywhere from about 100 to as high as 106 for that heat index. So some in the River Valley may be seeing that heat advisory get triggered. Overall for today, high temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s in northwest Arkansas, mid to upper 90s in the River Valley. We'll have plenty of that sunshine during the morning. Those puffy cumulus clouds will develop during the afternoon. We'll have that wildfire smoke as well, and a light southerly wind only about 5 miles per hour. For tonight, we'll be very quiet. Lows in the low to mid 70s, clear skies, light wind, and we'll continue to see more of that haze. Actually could be a little bit worse overnight. But again, we're going to be all sleeping, and make sure to just keep those windows shut and have that AC on, although you probably have that done already. For tomorrow, high temperatures, maybe a degree or two warmer, mid-90s in northwest Arkansas, upper 90s in the river valleys, maybe close to 100 in some of the river valleys. I think overall we'll just have mostly sunny skies, maybe a few cumulus clouds during the afternoon. We'll continue to see that haze and a little bit more of a southerly breeze at about 5 to 10. Otherwise, through the rest of your 7-day forecast, notice that, again, I know at least through Thursday we'll see hazy skies, but again, as long as this pattern keeps up and as long as the fires keep burning, we'll probably see it. So it could maybe be for the entire 7-day, but I know for sure today and tomorrow it definitely will be. In terms of any rain chances, though, you're like, all right, Danny, give me the good news. When are we going to see some rain? Well, maybe Monday and Tuesday, but again, even then, it's going to not be very good. It's not going to be very organized. So, again, something we'll definitely have to keep an eye on there. Otherwise, we're going through the rest of the River Valley. High temperatures in the mid to upper 90s there. Maybe getting close to 100 for some on Friday. But again, it's not going to be as hot and humid as it was to end July, but still pretty hot, especially as we're going back to school. Some in Oklahoma start on Friday. Others start next week. Looks like you're pretty typical back to school weather. Hot, humid, and a little bit dry.
Well, I hope we don't get the rain on Monday and Tuesday for the people starting school. If so, it needs to rain while they're inside at school.
And the good news is I think with that, it would be more during those like afternoon pop-ups. Again, it looks pretty dry otherwise, but yeah, the morning hours should be okay, at least for now.
There's nothing
Monday.
worse than the first day of school. You're leaving in your new outfit. Your mom's taking pictures and it's raining.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, thanks for that, Danny. Well, now we're going to go ahead and send it over to 5 News Sports Director Alex Stewart with your morning sports report.
5 News coverage of the Razorbacks is sponsored by Arvest Bank.
Football season may be on the horizon, but soccer is so back on campus. Well, kind of. Last night, the 6th-ranked Razorbacks hosted UT Martin in an exhibition game, so whose line is it anyway rules were in effect. The points didn't really matter. But who cares anyway? It's just nice to see athletics back on the hill and a new year, but the same Colby Hale mentality. Aggressive. First half, Anaya Nurse-White finds a crease, but can't fold that one into the net. So Valiana Ta'ua gives it a try, creates some space, but the goalie out there to vacuum it in. Undeterred, though, the Hogs try again. Ta'ua to Kennedy Ball, who draws the goalie, but check network connection. The pass is offline. However, they get even closer here. Kaylin Brown in a crowd. Header, but it's off the crossbar. No dice again. However, Cora Hare, Sabrina Jones, and Paige Zamansky all did score for Arkansas. to give the Hogs a 3-1 win. Now, Oral Roberts is next. That will be another exhibition game on Saturday before finally it's time for the season opener next Thursday, against number 13 Iowa. But for now, that's going to be it for your sports. After we take a quick look at the Hogs women's basketball schedule, we'll peek this, and man, it is a tough one for Kelsey Musick. She's going to have to face 8 teams that finished in the top 25 last year in her first run through the conference gauntlet, which starts right after the opener with Vandy. It's going to be number 20, number 2, and then number 15 all in a row. Then, after a brief 3-game reprieve, it's number 4, number 8, and number 16 consecutively. Luckily, though, the back end of the schedule does cool down just a little bit with only 2 ranked opponents in the final 5 games, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, before the Hogs wrap up this run at home against Auburn. Now that's going to be it for your sports. Have yourselves a great day.
Thanks for that, Alex. Well, the Tawnytown Grape Festival continues today. It's the 126th year for the annual event. The festivities today include carnival rides, a grape stomp, and 2 live performances. And of course, attendants can feast on the hundreds of prepared spaghetti dinners. Organizers say 100% of the proceeds from the festival will go back to St. Joseph's Church.
It takes a lot of volunteer effort to put on this festival every year, so there's a lot of tradition that goes into it, and that's really what it's all about, getting the community together as one and being together and putting on a great carnival and great fundraiser for the church.
The Grape Festival goes on all this week and will end on Saturday. Parking and admission are free to the festival. And the Arkansas State Fair is coming back with the star-studded weekend in October. R&B sensation Trey Songz, country music legends David Lee Murphy and Lone Star, and rock band 38 Special will cap off the weekend there in Little Rock. Tickets are on sale starting at $30. Let me tell you, the Arkansas State Fair growing up, that was so fun. They would do Mondays, and it would be like, I can't remember, like dollar ticket day or something.
Oh,
and it always landed on parent-teacher conference.
Of course.
And so in high school, we would all go, a big group of us, and we'd go for those dollar days. And then growing up, we'd go on field trips to the fair as well. But you said where you were from, y'all didn't even start school till after the fair.
Yes, because what used to happen is the farmers would need to show off their cattle, all their farm animals at the fair, so then they wouldn't be able to go until after.
Very interesting.
This is a 5 News Update.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I was going to say Iowa. It's not in Iowa here. Good morning to the 5 News coverage area. I'm meteorologist Danny Cassidy. Those of you who don't know, I did work in Iowa, so I knew that was going to happen at some point, and it happened today. It's only a couple months in. Anyway, you're like, all right, enough with this. Get on with this. We do have some moderate air quality out there. It's okay for this morning, but we are seeing that wildfire smoke pretty elevated, right? You're seeing those hazy skies. Maybe earlier this morning you saw those vibrant oranges and reds for that sunrise. Again, it mostly should stay elevated due to the fact that we don't have any cold fronts swinging through. But again, just be mindful of that, especially if you're very, very sensitive to the smoke and allergens. Just be careful spending time outside. Otherwise, for today, high temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s in northwest Arkansas, mid to upper 90s in the River Valley. We'll see plenty of that blue sky again with that haze. It'll look kind of like a white, like a very thin cloud. That's what it'll look like for us, and you're probably seeing it out there already. We'll see more actual cloud cover move in during the afternoon, and not very much of a breeze, only about 5 miles per hour. For those of you heading to day 2 of the Tiny Town Great Festival, which is tonight, again from 5 to 11 p.m. It's going to be a little bit warm out there. Feels like around 96 by 5 o'clock when the doors open, and then as we're going through the night hours here, even by 11 still feels like 80. So again, it's pretty typical summer heat, but it's kind of cranked up a degree or two, so just be safe out there if you're spending time outside. That feels like will stay pretty steady for the day tomorrow as well, but I think Friday through Sunday will be the hottest stretch over this next 5 days. And again, it's not going to be as hot as it was to end July. We saw those heat indices above 110, especially in the River Valley. But for here, maybe about 100 to 105 for Friday through Sunday. And that'll stay pretty consistent into next week as well. Maybe a couple degrees cooler, but that typical summertime heat is sticking around. And those 80s, unfortunately, aren't returning anytime soon. So again, stay safe out there in the heat. Make sure to drink plenty of water. Otherwise, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you here for the final wrap up of the news.
Well, here's what you need to know in your morning rush. The Fayetteville City Council has voted down a proposed student housing development. The project would have replaced 2 apartment complexes, but not without displacing dozens of current tenants. Core Spaces, a private developer, was asking the city to rezone nearly 3 acres near downtown Fayetteville to make room for a complex called The Hub. The developer had worked with city staff to offer support for tenants who would be displaced, but the council voted 5-1 against the rezoning. And local schools are rolling out the new bell-to-bell no-cell policy this school year, a statewide ban on student phone use during school hours. At Greenland High School, a strict no-phone policy has already been in place. Students must keep their phones turned off and stored away during class. Administrators say since the change, students are more focused during lessons. And after nearly a decade as Benton County Judge, Barry Mooring says that he will not be seeking re-election in 2026. He spoke with 5 News about the challenges facing the county moving forward. Law enforcement and jail costs are taking up a growing share of Benton County's budget, and Mooring says that funding issues must be addressed. He also points to land use planning in unincorporated areas as another major challenge. And he says the Benton County Jail is overcrowded and needs to be expanded. And Danny, just as people are heading out today, what do they need to know?
Yeah, we have the wildfire smoke. You're seeing it out there. Thankfully, it remains elevated, so air quality is okay. Gonna be another hotter one today. Temperatures about 2 to 3 degrees warmer than yesterday. Not much of a breeze as well. We'll continue to see probably that haze for much of the next upcoming week. For tonight, pretty cool tonight, pretty normal. Low temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Clear skies and the light wind. Then for tomorrow, maybe even a degree or 2 warmer. So that heat index, not as much of a factor as it was last week, but still pretty muggy, still pretty hot out there. So again, just be safe out there in the heat. But it looks pretty nice for the rest of the week.
I think if we could go back to those 80s,
I'm trying
nice.
my best. No luck so far, Tiffany, but I'll tell you when we can get to
Oh yeah, hey, at least we're not in the hundreds. That's all we can ask for. Knock on wood. Let's keep it that way for the first 2 weeks of school at least.
Yes.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Thank you so much for joining.